Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. Before we get to today's subject, just a little bit of election news. If you've been watching my vlogs, you already know one of these items, that the state of Michigan has given the Trump campaign team access to 22 Dominion voting machines to do a forensic audit of those machines. But there's been a further development. Oh, by the way, in case you don't know, Dominion makes the voting machines that were used in elections across the country in a number of states. In this case, we're talking about Michigan. But a Senate committee, a Michigan State Senate committee, the Oversight Committee, has asked the CEO of Dominion to come in to testify and said that if that CEO does not come voluntarily, that person would be subpoenaed. Now, second item is Texas. Texas has sued a number of, several swing states, Michigan, I believe, getting back to Michigan, and Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, for violating the Constitution or their state constitutions in the way they conducted their election. A state can sue other states, and if a state does sue other states, that it is the Supreme Court that hears the case. So this could be, it looks, well, from what I've been reading, this is very significant. I am not a lawyer, but from what I've been reading about or reading from legal experts, this could be a significant development. Now, on to today's subject. I've been focusing on the United States for several vlogs, mainly the election. This is kind of election related. Well, it's election related if Joe Biden does in fact become president. This is Iran. Now, we of course have had these, or Trump took us out of the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Act, the nuke deal with Iran. Trump took us out and restored and increased the sanctions on Iran. They are, from what I can see, starting to work. Little by little by little, they have been making it harder, first of all, for Iran to sponsor terrorism across the Middle East. I've read several stories that Hezbollah is hurting because of the extreme reduction in financial aid from Iran. You're also seeing, however, more open demonstrations, pushbacks in Lebanon from the Lebanese citizenry against Hezbollah. They are less and less, well, they have the guns, Hezbollah does, so that's a reason to fear them, but they are less fearful of speaking out. But more important, any respect that Hezbollah had from the general population in Lebanon, it's quickly disappearing. That is very obvious. But now in Iran, I'm sure you've all heard about the assassination of the head scientist of Iran's nuclear program, their pursuit of a nuclear weapon. Aside from, or in addition to, the damage that this apparently has done to the nuclear program, because my understanding from what I've read is not only was he the chief scientist, an excellent scientist, but he also had excellent, like Qasem Soleimani, he had very good leadership and organizational skills, managerial skills that are going to be sorely missed. But what I'm talking about today is the ability of somebody, looks like it's the Israelis, to assassinate this scientist right in the middle of Iran. It's a huge embarrassment for them. And it's another reason why the Iranian population is being more vocal about their opposition and just hatred of, opposition to and hatred of the Iranian regime. I'm going to, let me just mention briefly, there was an earlier situation where Iran put on the ground an American flag, or a painting of an American flag and an Israeli flag, for people to walk across. These university students, they walked around the flag. They would not walk on the flag. But now we have this new development. You normally, or what has happened in the past when when a prominent figure is assassinated, you have these enormous demonstrations. The Iranians they find somewhere thousands upon thousands of people to go out and chant death to America, death to Israel, death to the great Satan, death to the little Satan. That's Israel. They're the little Satan. We're the big Satan. But this time, apparently, they couldn't get very many people because there were few demonstrations, and the ones that there were very small. But look at this headline. This really surprised me, and that's why I want to share it. Israeli flag and banner, quote, "Thank you, Mossad," unquote, hung on bridge in Tehran. If you don't know, I'm sure you do, but just in case, Mossad, that's the Israeli equivalent of our CIA. Except that, in my opinion, in many cases, the Mossad is better than our CIA. Well, you see, our European friends, and even some Americans, John Brennan, the former head of the CIA and supreme Trump hater, he condemned the assassination of this scientist. Never mind the threat to the United States if Iran gets a nuke, but also in Europe, the European Union, they have condemned the assassination. They've condemned the assassination of, and I don't know why they're falling over themselves to do favors for Iran. Iran has had people assassinated, talking about assassinations in Europe. Iran is behind a lot of mischief across Europe and in, I would say, Latin America too, or Argentina. I won't go into details today, but the point is, Israeli flag and banner, quote, "Thank you, Mossad," unquote, hung on bridge in Tehran. So you have, as I've said in the past, this whole idea of a Palestinian state and sucking up to Iran. These are European projects. These are projects of Western liberals. Here we see right in the middle of Tehran. Well, let me read you a little bit from the article. A video and pictures of an Israeli flag and a banner reading, quote, "Thank you, Mossad," unquote, went viral on social media Tuesday after they were hung on a bridge over a busy thoroughfare in the Iranian capital of Tehran. The flag and banner were spotted Monday evening on what appears to be a pedestrian bridge over a 6-lane major road in Tehran's Pars neighborhood, where scores of cars stopped in busy traffic would have noticed the flag and the English language banner below it. The Israeli flag is banned in Iran except for its use in government-organized anti-Israel demonstrations where the flag is burned or trampled on while crowds loyal to the Islamic Republic chant, quote, "Death to Israel," unquote. The bridge incident is not the first time the Israeli flag has been used by Iranians in an act of defiance against the totalitarian government. In January, a video circulated online showing Iranian university students defiantly walking around giant Israeli and American flags that were painted on the ground in order not to step on them. That was the incident that I was just telling you about a moment ago. So it happened back in January. What I want to get to today is, well, I hope, well, full disclosure, I'm a conservative. I supported Trump in the election. I am hoping that he succeeds in reversing what is, to me, clearly a stolen election. That's another story for another day. What I want to focus on is the nightmare scenario if Biden does in fact become president and then becomes in charge of our foreign policy. I am concerned that he is going to try to renew this JCPOA, the Iran nuke deal, even though, well, this is the really scary part. The Iranians said that they were not going to renegotiate it. But if you think back, if you remember seeing this, maybe many of you didn't, but that horrible, or to me disgusting, scene in Camp David in 2000 when the talks between Israel and the Palestinians, between Arafat and Ehud Barak, who was the Prime Minister of Israel at the time, hosted by Clinton, and Yasser Arafat walking away from the talks, and the Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, chasing after him, running after him, begging him to come back to the talks. That's what I'm worried about, or one thing I'm worried about in the case that Biden becomes president. That you're going, and I don't put this past John Kerry at all, given how he, well, during the negotiations for of the JCPOA, the foreign minister of Iran shouted and screamed, humiliated, insulted John Kerry, our Secretary of State, and he just stood there and took it. So I could very easily see the Iranians refusing to renegotiate this horrible nuke deal, and John Kerry and Joe Biden and who knows who else in Biden administration practically begging the Iranians to renegotiate the deal, offering them money again, pallets of cash, allowing them to, well, essentially pursue a nuke. I really worry about this happening. I worry about Joe Biden becoming president and reversing everything that Trump has accomplished in going after Iran. I'm going to be a broken record if I just keep saying it, but it really does worry me. I would hope it would worry some of you. But I guess that's it for today. Thumbs up if you like this video. If you want to state your opinion, whether it worries you or not, or what you think, comment section below the video where you can put questions, suggestions for future topics. You could subscribe. I love getting new subscribers. You could listen to my music channel. New song up today. It's at the bottom of the list that I put in the description with a link, and you can also get the song. You can download the song. You can buy the song, make me $1 or $2 on Spotify. But most of all, I appreciate the time that you spend with me. I'm hoping I'll see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.